everyone. How are you doing? Hi. My hair is a hot mess. It's so humid here in Texas right now. How's everyone doing? Everyone's doing good. Hello. I hope everyone is at home and is safe and healthy. And all right, let's see if we can get Roxy on here. I haven't seen the page go live yet. I hope I'm not missing it. Oh, there she is. All right. Boop.
Shit, wait a minute. Nicole!
Hi, baby. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I am doing so well. I have to say, I love your background.
Listen, I am on set. This is the set in my home of my bingos that I do every Wednesday at 5. It's the only thing I can do to keep myself sane during these crazy times.
Listen, you got to take care of you.
You got to do something. So this is what I do.
Yes. How can people join the bingo?
So I do bingo. You can literally just go on my Instagram page, Foxy Roxy Wood, and obviously I'm sitting right here now. But yeah, I'm there every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We do bingo. It's like 5 games. It's me just talking trash, calling balls. It's just fun. You can win Amazon gift cards and crap like that. It's just fun.
Love that.
So yeah, it's fun.
Yes, absolutely.
You look so cute and so natural. I've got a full face on for this interview.
Thank you very much. Well, I went for a walk, and it's like 1,005 degrees outside here in Texas, and
I was about to say, where are you? So
awesome.
Yeah, Texas.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go out, and I'm just gonna get a quick thing of fresh air, and then come back and have this discussion. And I came back red, and my hair was frizzy, and I was like,
I can't. I have literally. I mean, it was. I don't know how hot it was yesterday, but I think it was 90 something because it was I did my show here and I was full drag and was sweating just going through it. But yeah, it's been hot. I've literally just stayed in the house unless I absolutely have to go out. With everything that's going on too. Not just the protests, which are great, but then also coronavirus. That's still happening. It's still happening. So it's there's nowhere you can go to just be safe other than your own damn home.
Absolutely. And people may not know this, but yesterday was your birthday.
It was my birthday! Big beautiful duet!
Happy birthday. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I am so happy that you are here, and I am so happy that we are able to have this conversation and talk about this right now. Because I think with everything going on, I think that, you see how I pivoted there? So good.
Girl, because you know what you're doing. This ain't your first rodeo.
I feel like a regular talk show host.
I mean.
I feel like Wendy or something.
Wow. Somebody's got to take the space. She's off right now.
So I think that with everything going on right now, we've been having a lot of really great conversations. And I think a lot of people are starting to get a really harsh wake-up call to what people have been dealing with really for their whole lives. And I think that is a good opportunity right now, while the focus is on it, to look at oppression as an intersectional issue.
I agree.
Yeah. So I guess starting off, before we get into the Q&A, you and I, two just trans women destroying Hollywood together.
Right. Living the dream.
Spreading the gay disease, putting it into homes across the nation.
I mean, scaring the children.
Scaring everybody.
Oh, clutch your non-existent pearls.
I went to Dillard's, bought pearls, came back, clutched them.
Right.
So we are two trans women in Hollywood, but we have had very, very different experiences.
That is true.
So I wanted to ask you, before we sort of dove into everything, how has your experience been as a Black trans woman, making it in this crazy business that we're both in.
I mean, it's, you know, I don't even know where to begin, and then like, and not in a bad way, like, oh my goodness, I've gone through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, I don't know. I mean, it's been interesting in the sense of like, I mean, first of all, there's not a lot of opportunity, but you can say that for any, you know, minority group. You know what I mean? You know, there's still, that fight is still going on. So I mean, of course, you know, being trans on top of, you know, being black and being whatever, you know, it's even more difficult just because, again, the resources and just the availability of things to do aren't there.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I will say this though, because I've actually, you know, I've gone out for roles that weren't necessarily trans, and I've booked roles. Like I played, you know, I played a female basketball player. Yes, she
Love
did.
it.
On well, ex-female basketball. She doesn't have that weight anymore, but ex-female basketball player on the Rookie, which you know, was a cute part. You know, where I'm robbing a store because, you know, I'm out of luck and I don't have any, you know, I need the money.
Listen,
but yeah, I mean, like, and that wasn't necessarily you know, I mean, obviously it wasn't a trans role, but I booked it. And I don't know, like I said, it's I think the biggest issue is, again, because there's not that much available, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what just makes it tough, because you do see the same, and I mean, again, this goes for any group, because I mean, you see the same girls, you know, the same guys, the same everything in the room, and you're just like, hey, all right, Jenny, we're back at it.
See you again.
Every time you're like, oh, hey, girl, I know it's either me or you, I got you, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
no, I think that
what about with you?
Yeah. I mean, I've been very fortunate. But you know, I've noticed the same thing. It's just the roles aren't there, and it's getting better.
Yeah.
And more we are seeing roles for trans people. But, you know, this business is already so competitive, and it's already hard enough to book any role, and then trying to get a role where there's only one or, you know, two for your group, it is difficult. And I think that not just in Hollywood, but I think there is a lack of access for opportunity in every field for
everyday life,
for trans people, and the issues of gender and race combined only make that more difficult.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's true. And I mean, I can't, you know, like I said, I can't, you know, don't cry for me, Argentina, because I mean, I've booked a lot of stuff too, and I've done a lot of stuff. So I can't complain. Even like the Supergirl role, you know, I remember, that's another thing too. Like, it's so funny because it will be like one part, and then they send out a casting call. It's like, if you have ever whatsoever in your life, ever, you know, identified as,
looked in the mirror,
put on. Yes, because I have put, and that's one thing I will say that I do wish that, like, we could kind of clean up, well, you know, the industry could kind of clean up, because I mean, I will say this, I've been to roles where it's not, I don't know if they want to be so inclusive or what the deal is, but they know exactly specifically what they're looking for, you know, be it somebody tall, skinny, black, white, this, that, trans, whatever. And, you know, specifically dealing with trans, but all these other levels of it. And yet, you know, everybody and their mama is called into the room. And I know there's been a couple times, and, you know, and I have a couple shows under my belt. She's not new,
yeah,
you know, 37 years old and counting.
She's been booked and busy.
She's been booked and busy and has her own show. But anyway, outside of that, it's crazy because, like I said, I've been in rooms where, you know, and these are like big parts, but they have like, you know, and not to, you know, not to say it, but to say it, but they've got, you know, girls that are, and this is supposed to be a trans part, but they've got girls first time in drags at a ball, like literally, you know, no one who identifies as trans, but put a wig on their head and,
up in the good first time Halloween.
Yes, and I'm just like, if I had known that, you know, so what are you looking for? So I'm not wasting my time. You know, no tea, no shade, all tea, all shade. It's like, what are you looking for? Because if you're looking for something that, you know, wig pull and, I got you, caught you, you know, then I'm not that, you know? So it's like, I wish that, you know, without seeming like they're discriminating, but I wish that, like, the industry would just be a little bit more, you know, if you want a black girl, then say, I want a black girl. You save me time either, but, you know, you save other people time. You know what I mean? Like, just be more specific and, you know, and just not do these open calls, because it feels like a cattle call. And literally every part I've been on, major part, first thing I really did, like, you know, kind of noteworthy, I had a small part on Transparent, And again, it was for Alexander Billings' role, the role that she got. Huge casting call for like everybody who's ever in their life, you know what I mean, acted and identified as, or thought they might be, or shoulda, coulda, woulda. And, you know, she ended up getting the part. But one thing they did, which was so amazing, was they took all these other actresses and actors and basically put them in, you know, like they gave me like 4 lines in this episode and 2 lines in that episode. So that was really nice because it gave everybody a start. But even with like your part, Miss Girl, I remember going in for that. And I will say this, I literally bombed that audition. And I told them, I was like, I'm used to doing big, lively characters. I host, you know, Drag Queen Bingo in West Hollywood, and I'm used to just being, you know, and yes, and I'm sitting there stumbling over all those big words and shenanigans, and, you know, but they liked me so much that they were just like, you know, like 2 months after you got the role, they were like, we want to just bring you back in and create a roommate situation where she's kind of fun, she's kind of sassy, and just, you know, you have a few lines here and there. And I was like, damn, give it to me. Are you kidding? Yes, I was like, are you kidding? I will pop up and get a check and be cute. Yes, I will. And rightfully so.
I mean, can we do an episode where Yvette takes over as Dreamer?
You know what? I mean, you know, we'll see what all happens. But I mean, I think obviously because, I mean, they did replay it more than once. I think, you know, the episode we did, the last one we did, you know, obviously people liked it, hopefully. Yeah, and I hope that, you know, obviously more comes of that. But I would love to even just like, you know, not to, you know, perpetuate or, you know, have this stereotype. But I mean, I would even love to be something evil. You know, like maybe even after the situation that we just had, you know, like I go, as you're protecting, honey, I'm like, I'm about to kill somebody.
And no, not, you know,
listen, it's the times they were changing.
The drama, troubling.
You know, and maybe we have a fight off, or maybe we have like a something. I don't know. You know, just all these ideas we have, just give us a spinoff. How about that?
Listen.
I mean, can we just please?
Let's do it.
Listen, okay, you have plenty of time on your station, on your network. Give it to us. We need it. The world needs it.
Okay, so let's. I guess we've rambled. Let's answer questions from you guys. So in the comments, drop your questions. We will get into them. First one I see is what we'll talk about.
I love y'all. Thank you. They love us, Nicole. They love us.
Oh my God, you love me. You really love me. Yeah.
That's so nice.
All right. What does your shirt say? It says, "I put the T in LGBT."
Ooh, that's beautiful. And the tea is piping hot.
The tea, darling. The tea.
You got that hot tea.
How was filming the episode about trans violence? I had a wonderful time getting to do that episode and getting to delve into those emotions and those stories. Because I think so often as trans folks, we hear about the trauma in our community, and we hear about our brothers and sisters and siblings who are attacked, and no one really talks about it. And it's really only discussed in our own circles, and it's kind of just discussed amongst ourselves. I mean, when Tony McDade was murdered and Iana Dior was attacked, I really only saw, and this was recently, by the way, for context, Tony McDade was shot by police a day after George Floyd, and just a couple days ago, Iana Dior was
in Minnesota. In
Minnesota.
the same. That's what's so crazy.
Yes.
The exact and no tea, no shade. I'm Black. By her own people.
We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. It's
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter, and that includes Black.
All of us.
We can't have this conversation about oppression. I was going to say depression. I mean depression too.
That part too. Hashtag both.
We can't have this conversation about oppression, I think, without looking at it through an intersectional lens.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So
Mm.
what about you? How did you feel during this episode? I was just happy that we were actually able to have this conversation on such a wide scale.
Well, I mean, congrats to you, and thank you to you for being so behind it and helping to get it going and creating and adding and all this stuff, and even reaching out to me, because I'm just like, shoot, I'm just a hot hand. Just, tell me what to do and I'll do it. But you were very much like, girl, if you have any, let me know. And I mean, I thought it was great. I was just so, like I said, so thankful. I'm also work again, but also, just to,
Like,
right. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm going back to, Canada, Vancouver, where it's cold. And, but no, I mean, honestly, like I said, I loved it because, I mean, first of all, it was so real, you know what I mean? And it just, I've never really seen anything that in depth with dealing with trans issues like that on a national, I mean, like the CW and Supergirl, you know what I mean? Like crossing all these worlds and but like it was so real. And like I said, the way it was written was great. I'm glad I didn't die.
Me too.
Because listen, in the horror movies, the black girl always dies, black guy always dies first. And not only that, I know it's a CW, but still. And then, and then being trans too, you know what I mean? It wouldn't have been nice to be written off the show so fast. Yeah. So, yeah, but no, I mean, it was an amazing experience. And, and even shooting and everything was great and doing the show was great, but honestly, more than anything, because we did have a lot of downtime up there, you know what I mean? Because we were up there for you were up there the whole time, but I was up there for a good week or so to shoot the one episode. And just like, honestly, like really being able to sit down with you, because we did 2 other episodes together, but they were really quick. Well, my parts were really quick. Mm-hmm. So being able to like, spend the time that we got to spend together and talk and, and just go to the store and, you know what I mean? And just live and be real and just, to me was like amazing. It was great.
Yeah, I was just happy to have like, for as long as we got to do that episode together, I was happy to have like another trans person.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the environment, because there's not a lot of trans people on television right now, and so I never really get to see any other trans folks. So it was nice to be able to do this episode with you and to be able to talk about it. And I was so happy that everyone was so on board. And we keep talking about how important it is for people with privilege to recognize that and to listen. Right. And I think everyone was just so good about listening to us and taking our input and recognizing that, this is our community's experience, and they recognize that wasn't their own, and they were really good at talking to us about it. And I was so happy to get to do that. And now I'm really hoping that Roxy goes, that you get to go dark.
Okay.
I'm kind of like, as we've been talking, I've been like turning the wheels in my head, and I'm like, oh my God, that should be a villain. I
would love to just do a little something. I mean, I think it would be amazing. The bad girls always have more fun. So.
Listen, I hope I get to go dark as Nia sometime. I could be
listen, I mean, you were basically there. You know what I mean? I mean, Supergirl had to she had to kind of pull you back a little bit, but I thought, like, I was ready. I was like, girl, I'll be your sidekick.
Yeah, listen, I am here. Listen, season 6, Nia and Yvette just go off the deep end. And... Listen,
yes, and just tear shit up. Sorry, tear stuff up. I'm at home. I'm sorry. I'm very comfortable.
Absolutely. Oh my God. It could be called Night Terror.
Right.
There's a ring to it. Let's see. What else?
Somebody wrote like a paragraph a minute ago. I don't know.
Let's see if we can find it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of people. There's a lot of love being given. Thank you for the love, everybody.
Oh my gosh. Okay, actually, here's a really, really good question. Being a trans Latina woman, it is so scary being afraid that if you don't pass, you can get attacked and hurt. What are your thoughts? I think that is an excellent point to make. I think that we do not recognize in the trans community nearly enough the privilege that exists with this concept of passing.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
You go ahead.
No, I mean, you know, it's funny because everybody's story is different, and when I was younger, you know, I went through a lot of bullying and stuff like that, and I was, you know, I was short and I was, you know, chunky and very effeminate, you know, I'm still pretty, but, you know, because I grew up in Virginia, you know, part of the time, and my dad was in the military, so we traveled a lot, but yeah, I went through a lot of stuff, and I feel like now it's made me much more sheltered, and it, like, in a sense of, I don't, you know, which is, I mean, it's good and it's bad, but I don't like to go out and do a whole lot of stuff. Like, I'm very comfortable more so in my own home.
Yeah.
You know, basically I'll go out to work. Now I could do it at home, but I would go out to work, I would come home, but I'm very, like, of my surroundings, you know what I mean? And you kind of have to be that way because it's scary. And that's the thing. And you can be the most, because I've seen, you know, girls on, you know, I don't want to say talk shows, but, you know, like stuff like that, where basically, like, you've seen girls and, you know, them talking about being attacked and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm just looking at them like, girl, I would never, like, I thought, you know, I wouldn't even give you a second glance. I would just think, girl, oh, she's fish. You know what I mean? That's a woman. That's a woman. But they get attacked and somebody calls them out. And that's the thing. You never know what people's intentions are, what they're, you know, there's no real good answer for that. Like, you just have to really be aware of your surroundings and go with your gut feeling. Like my parents always taught me too. If something doesn't feel right, girl, get out of there. Like, absolutely. You have to, because you got to worry about you. You can't worry about nobody else, you know?
Absolutely.
You really do.
Yeah, no, you have to protect yourself. I think that is, I'm going to plug my phone in. I think that is.
Yeah, I still got mine plugged in. It's been at 100 for like 20 minutes, and she's like, I don't trust it. I'll have none of this.
I don't know what's going on with my phone, but she loves to run out of charge and not.
It's all that good Texas heat drowning out that phone, girl.
Oh jeez. Oh God. And now,
come on, Texas heat. Everything's bigger.
Hold it. It keeps. I let go of it and it turns.
Oh, she's giving us a real show now. Come on, Nicole, with the show. That's not Nicole's show. Oh.
I think that is a really good segue into something we talked about on our episode. Was this the reality for trans women in the dating world? And I know when I went on my first date with my ex-boyfriend, I had my two roommates follow us to the restaurant, to the movies, driving behind us the whole time. I did not feel comfortable being alone. I also had pepper spray and a knife in my pocket.
Always. I've got mine on my key and it's got glitter on it just to make sure.
Oh,
she already done had hers.
Oh. Where can I get mine?
Listen, okay, come on, glitter pepper spray. Yes. Hashtag glitter pepper spray.
Hashtag glitter pepper spray. Oh my God. Available on the Mia Yvette store.
Listen, we're selling it, but never mind. PG, we're on the CW. This isn't my private feed. You want to see a real show? Come to my bingo.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Listen, I'm not doing anything next Wednesday. I think
I'm there every Wednesday. I'll be sitting here yelling.
You know, I think that, you know, there's this fear around dating as trans women. And, you know, because you don't know what somebody's intentions are. You don't know what's going to happen. Do you tell them that you're trans before? Do you tell them that you're trans after? You know, before you get back home. And I mean, that's what we saw with Yvette and Gregory Bowers. You know, it's someone who even is posing to like you and is targeting you, and there's no way to, you know, weed that out, and there's, you know, no way to know what somebody's intentions are, and it's scary.
It's true. I know for me, I have found, I'm all being an older gal, I have found that, like, I mean, most of the dating that I do now, which I actually enjoy, because again, being so busy and just not like, being out and about, and there's really no real place to go if you are trans specifically, other than like, oh, there's a, just like they have like, oh, the hip hop night or the Latin night, there's a trans night, Thursday trans night, you know what I mean? Other than that, like at some club or some grimy bar, there's really no real like, place to go where you can comfortably know that they know I'm trans, I know they're interested in trans, and we're good to go. Yeah. So a lot of, for me, it's really online dating. And but even still with that, because like, there's like, the general apps that you can go on or whatever. I ain't plugging nobody because she ain't getting paid. But there are the general apps that you can go on where, people are more accepting or whatever. And then there's some that like are specifically for trans. But like, I'm very upfront about like, literally just about everything in my situation. Like, I want to lay it out before we even, you know what I mean? Before we even exchange numbers, before you getting on my Instagram and seeing that she's somebody, you know what I mean? Like, she already know. Before you see any of that, like, I'm like, okay, by the way, I am trans, I am this is, blah, 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 all the details, because I'm not playing with people. Like, I don't, and not only that, but the older I've gotten to, the more selfish I've gotten. And I feel like that's part of the, not necessarily a problem, but like, we need to figure out what we want and what we like and what we enjoy with a person, you know what I mean? And about a person, and stick to that, and not feel like we're like, because being trans, I feel like, is already put it to be like some fantasy when it comes to dating and all the other stuff, you know what I mean? And we just need to be more, no, this is what I'm looking for. It's not about you. It's about me, and this is what I want. And can you fit into my box? I'm not putting on a red wig for you. You know what I mean? Like, what you think this is? Stop it.
Someone saw it one too many times.
Listen, okay? And so, yeah, I feel like that's part of it, is just like kind of owning who you are, knowing who you are, and being very like, this is who I am. So take it or leave it, because if it's not you, I'm going to be hit up tomorrow or whatever. You know what I mean? You have to be strong like that, because people are selfish, especially guys. Selfish!
Oh, we said it!
Get out! So.
I think on the topic of, of dating as trans people, I think we need to also discuss this issue, which we touched a little bit on in our episode, but what is popularly known as gay panic.
Oh my gosh. What's funny is I had heard the term before, but it wasn't until, you mentioned it to me that I'm like, let me investigate this. And I did, and I was like, oh. I was like, okay, so there's a defense for everything now.
It's
like,
a whole thing.
Really? Really?
So
I can't. It hurts her.
So for the people who don't know, and I know we're probably running over time, so after this we'll answer one more question. 20 minutes is not enough to talk about all we want.
Right, it's a mouthful.
I have my little notes here. I wanted to make sure I had everything right. So for those of you who aren't familiar, gay panic comes from this idea of gay panic disorder, which way back in the day was pretty much a temporary state of panic and psychosis that people claim to have if they found out that someone was trans or gay or somewhere on the queer spectrum, and had this like panic moment where they're like, but I'm not gay, and that's something that we see a lot of the time with trans women, and that's something that we saw motivate Gregory Bowers in our episode. He was kind of like, oh yeah, I saw Dreamer on TV and thought she was like this like hot new thing, and then you told us you were trans and you're lying to people.
Right.
And he had this moment of having to prove something, having to prove that, he's not gay, which is something that surprisingly is still legal in 40 states. There are 10 states as of 2019. This could have very well been updated. As of 2019, 10 states have completely decriminalized or not allowed the use of the gay panic defense in court. They've deemed it inadmissible. And there are 10 more states right now that are pending. They've had bills introduced to make it not so you can do that anymore. But it still happens. But the fact that it's still, in one of the most popular cases was Matthew Shepard. And, his attackers claimed that, they found out he was gay, panicked, and brutally beat him and left him to die on a fence.
Yeah. So it's crazy it's crazy.
Yeah. So the fact that this stuff still happens, and to answer a lot of questions that I've been seeing, what you can do about this is be aware of it and be talking about it. What we were talking about with Tony McDade and Yana Dior and Malaysia Booker, and our names circulate around our own community a lot, and we are talking about it a lot, but I haven't seen a lot of people outside of the community sharing these people's names, sharing their stories, and that's what needs to change.
Well, we definitely need to be included, like we all do, whatever your race is, that was another thing too. Like, I've seen a lot of posts for Black Lives Matter, and, I haven't seen very many that do include trans people or, our gay brothers and sisters, lesbians, that have been killed or harmed or anything, with all the list of people that have been, their lives have been taken. And it's sad because I'm like, okay, so, it's really like a double-edged sword because, there's part of me that, wants to, and I know other trans people that want to go out there and protest and do stuff and feel like they're part of the movement. But at the same time, then you see what just happened to, Iana, and it's just like, okay, so am I allowed to be a part of this movement? Because, am I going to get myself to get, come on. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like we're apart, but we're not,
Absolutely.
Like, it's a lot.
Yeah, we need to be committed to, if we are going to be expressing this outrage about the injustice that Black people face in our country, we need to, as people with privilege, we need to be committed to not putting our blinders up and not looking at this solely through the lens of Black people. We need to be conscious that, when the issues of race and gender intersect, there's a disproportionate amount of violence that trans women of color especially face in our country. And it is irresponsible and dangerous to pretend that doesn't happen. If it isn't, you do not lose anything by looking at oppression as an intersectional issue. It's not going to kill you to be like, all Black lives matter, trans Black lives matter as well. But if you don't do that, it very well may contribute to the death of a Black trans person. And that's the tea.
That's the tea. That's what that shirt be saying.
Listen.
She put on that shirt.
For
mine just says beautiful.
And it's true. Look at you.
And I'm all covered up. Last night I was a mess. My boobs were out, but I'm all covered up today. She's being classy for the CW. But yes. Right, it's so hard to be so like, it was funny because I was, earlier I was thinking to myself too, and I was doing research and just because I wanted to make sure I was well informed. I didn't want to come up here and just be talking, which I do anyway. But yeah, it's hard because such serious material, and and obviously I crack jokes and I say things because it's my way of coping with a lot of this. Because just sitting here, it was funny because like I said, I turned 37 yesterday, and thank God. But I think there was a statistic I read, I don't even know how long ago, where it was most Black trans women don't make it past 36. So even being in my home, doors locked, blinds shut, just celebrating my birthday last night, and just being here, still it was this uneasy feeling of You know what I mean? It's scary.
How
Like
many
it's
people didn't get to do that?
exactly, and it's scary, and it's just like, all right, you know what I mean? I made it, but you know, it's scary. It's scary. So
Absolutely.
we all go through things.
All right, let's answer one more question. I'll go into the question
More
box.
questions.
I totally forgot that there was a question box.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, this is a really good question to end on. Okay. With everything going on, can LGBTQ people still celebrate Pride?
We got to do something.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
You got to do something. You got to find, like, again, you got to find your own happiness. And, you know, take it away, Nicole. Because I'll ramble for another hour.
Listen, you know what? No, you go ahead. We have a minute.
I think, honestly, yeah, I think that, you know, you have to celebrate the things that bring you joy, and you have to celebrate being you. And, I mean, it's hard enough, you know, living day to day. Like I said, I mean, you know, and not just because of, you know, just because I'm a recluse and I am a homebody, but also like with, you know, with coronavirus happening and, you know, with coronavirus, come on, Cardi. And just like, you know, just everything happening with the protests too, because again, you know, yes, I believe in, we all need to, I mean, of course, you know, I check so many minority boxes. So it's like, of course I believe in so many things, but it's like, again, I don't feel comfortable going out protesting, you know, and because, I mean, really, I don't, let's say I'm in that crowd by myself, or even if I have one or two friends with me, there's a lot more people in there that would be like, hey, you know what I mean? We might agree with this, but we don't agree with you. And what, you know, there's no, so yes, I think you should, you know, but even if it's just at your home, you know what I mean? Even if it's just watching your favorite TV show, I think you need to celebrate, calling your friends, doing a live, doing a video chat, whatever. Just celebrate being you and celebrate the fact that, you know, you are able to some extent, you know, be yourself in this time, you know, and to live and maybe not do everything you want to do, but at least you're able to breathe and, you know, and live and, you know, and hope for better times. And, you know, I think that it's important for your own sanity, if nothing else. You know what I mean? You got to keep yourself up and happy, even with everything going on, because, you know, you just, I mean, there's no telling, you just got to keep yourself happy.
Yes. Yes. I think, you know, it is our responsibility, I think, as queer people to celebrate our identities and celebrate, you know, every year that we are still alive and every year that we make it. And I think with everything going on and, you know, with the constant attacks on the community from the administration, you know, I think it is responsible, or it would be irresponsible for us to not celebrate our amazing community and the strides that we have made in the past year. And I think that, you know, Pride is about celebrating our community. I think there's so much that happens throughout the year that can bog us down, and there's so much trauma that queer people experience. And, you know, it feels like, you know, you can't open social media without hearing about another queer sibling who's been brutalized or murdered. And it's so easy to get weighed down in all that. And I think Pride Month is really special for us to recognize all of that, but also celebrate it and celebrate being a part of this community and being a part of our this culture and recognizing our history. And I think now we have a really, really great opportunity to uplift, you know, the Black members of our queer community and make this, make Pride Month about talking about these issues intersectionally. And I think that we have a really great opportunity. And I think that not talking about it and not celebrating Black queer lives would do more harm than good.
Right. I agree. Okay, with a snap.
And that's on period.
Period. That's an exclamation point.
Roxy, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you, Nicole. I love you. I can't wait to see you soon.
Such a blast.
Fingers crossed.
Is there anything that you want to say before we sign off?
No, I'm just so thankful for this time with you.
Always.
I'm gonna burst into a song. I'm so thankful. And no, I'm just, I'm very happy that we were able to do this, especially at this time. And, I know this was a very serious topic, but hopefully, we were able to, entertain and bring joy to people too. Because I mean, that's for me, that's what it's about. You got to make sure that you do have your moments of, because I watch the news every day, and sometimes like literally hours will go by, and I'm just like, girl, change I'm watching Golden Girls tonight because they always make me happy.
Oh,
so I'm like, girl, like you have to change the channel.
I have
you
my
have
subscription for what?
yes, like you can't. It can't be all this like, because like again, you get to this point where I am, where I'm like, I don't want to leave the house. Like, nope. So yes, I hope that we were able to, answer a few questions, show us our community in a very positive light. If not, oh, whatever. Everybody's different. And and I just hope that we were able to bring joy and brighten up somebody's day, because that's really what it's about. Make people feel good and make people know that everything, everything's gonna be okay. Another show I did.
Absolutely.
I love you, Nicole.
I love you too. I miss you. I'm so sad that I'm hunkered down here in Texas, and that
I was about to say, yeah, because
I was so excited to spend my summer in LA, and we were gonna do bingo together, and it was gonna be great.
I know. Well, I'm doing it. Well, now we still can. Bingo every Wednesday, everybody. Roxy'sGotBalls.com.
Oh my God.
Or just go to my Instagram page, and like I said, and I post every week. We have one coming up next week. Next week we're actually celebrating Pride, because for LA, I'm in Los Angeles.
Lovely.
It would be Pride Week for us. So we're doing a special Pride where I'm going to be all in rainbows, and you already see the fun scenery. Oh, you can't see that shit. Sorry. Okay, look at all this fabulousness. Look at I did this. I am my own crew. Roxy'sGotBalls.com. I am my own crew.
Lovely gal.
You got to. You got to have your fun. You got to enjoy yourself.
We'd love to see it.
All
right.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember, the most important thing to do right now is to be aware, be involved in these conversations.
Be safe.
Be safe above all else. Listen, and make sure that, as we are being rightfully outraged and we are having these conversations and these arguments, make sure that we are fighting for all Black lives, including Black trans lives, Black queer lives. Black lives matter. Black trans lives matter. Happy Pride. I have ordered a bunch of my Pride flags, a bunch of my, Roxy, I'll send you a picture. I've decorated the side of my house with Pride flags.
I love it.
Rainbow flamingos came yesterday.
Rainbow flamingos? I need to get some rainbow flamingos. I don't know where I'm going to put them, but I need rainbow flamingos. That sounds like heaven. Just to be able to look. If nothing else is going right in the world, you've got your rainbow flamingos. I need some. I need some.
It's amazing. So I'm waiting on a couple more flags, but I'm, hoping to piss off a couple of my suburban Texas neighbors.
Give them hell! Get them, Nicole!
All right. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Roxy, again for joining me and having this conversation with me. And this was a lot of fun. We should do this again.
I'm game. I have nothing else going on with my life.
Truth.
Aren't we all just sitting inside?
Listen. All right. So thank you guys so much. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're safe. Happy Pride. Keep up the good work. Our voices are the most powerful tools that we have, so it is important that we continue to use them.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.